broadcasting from the beautiful Santa Barbara area. I'm a delighted Californian, although I was originally born in New York. And I am so thrilled to host you all and reintroduce, in most cases, two of my absolute favorite creative people. I'm going to introduce them together, and then they're going to take over this thing and talk and read. Um, I'm going to read John's bio because it's very short and well organized. He's currently and always thinking about radical wonder. He was Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park's first poet laureate. His work has been featured in hundreds of magazines, Writer's Almanac, and the Best Small Fictions 216 and 2022. He has 24 books of poetry, nonfiction, and fiction, which is amazing given how young he is, including Life, Orange to Pear, Kit Kit Dizzy, and Days of Recent Divorce. He is the founder and general editor of the Journal of Radical Wonder. He lives in Jamestown, New York. His most recent book, which is the book that we're celebrating, is from Arroyo Seco Press, and the title is Slowly Through the Grove. I'm going to share a link to it while these guys are talking. This is a series of 100 prose poems that are exactly 100 words long each, so it's exactly 10,000 words long. Each is a meditation on life through the medium of the natural world. And Eric Barr, aka Ricky, this I'm finding out for
Yes.
the first time,
Oh,
was
thank you.
one of his many childhood names.
Yes.
Eric's resume is so long, we could spend the whole time together talking about it. He taught acting and directing at the University of California, Riverside for many years. He was chair of the theater department for over 30 years. He's an incredibly gifted artist. This is not in the blurb he gave me, who worked with Marcel Marceau. He's trained as a mime, as a clown. He's a spectacular performer and director. He didn't say this, I'm telling you, and I think most of you know this already. He survived a series of strokes and wrote a one-man show, A Piece of My Mind, about his surgeries, hospitalizations, and rehab that he performs around the country for hospitals, med schools, stroke associations, and general theater audiences. A bunch of you have seen it. I was lucky enough to see it, and it's absolutely unforgettable and wonderful. His podcasts on stroke recovery, video of his one man show, and documentary can be found. I'll give you the link. And in 2020, Eric began to write poetry to help his memory, which was damaged by his strokes. His first poem, On Visiting My Dying Friend, was published in the collection California's Best Emerging Poets of 2020. Three other poems were published in the Journal of Radical Wonder. We're celebrating his new book, Striking Back Post-Stroke Poetry. And I guess I want to close by saying what I just love about these two is not only are Eric and John incredibly artistically successful creatives, but they are determined to open up and create and then hold the space for other would-be creatives. And I would not be doing the work that I'm doing if it weren't for John and Eric. I personally owe them such a debt of gratitude for opening up a creative space that I felt comfortable operating in. So without further ado, John and Eric are going to talk a little bit, or is Eric going to read first? I'm going to cede it to you to what you guys would like to do.
Yeah, I think we'll have just Eric read first, and we were thinking about doing a little bit of a interview of Eric as he goes through this, just to find out about his creative process.
Oh, geez, that means I have to have a creative process, I guess.
Oh, you not necessarily.
All right, good. I just talk to the little people on my desk.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's a
Let me
process.
let me just remark that no process is a process.
thank you, Paul. Is that right, Paul?
Yes, that's me.
Thank you, Paul. Well, let me start by saying that I'm really honored to be here with John because I wouldn't have done any of this without him either.
Mhm.
I really was having trouble with my memory after my stroke, and I heard Billy Collins give a lecture on poetry that said it was a good way to remember moments and people and things. So I thought, okay, I'll write a poem as a way to remember. And I went to visit a friend who was dying, and I was afraid to go. I really didn't want to go to see him. Was afraid of what I would see. And all I really wanted to do that day was take a picture so I could remember him and remember the process of his passing. But I ended up writing a poem, and in writing it, I discovered that not only did I capture what I was seeing, but I also captured what I was experiencing, watching him die. And I didn't know that poetry did that. I didn't know anything about poetry. My experience with poetry was Rod McEwen in the 60s. And maybe I could, convince some woman that I was a poet for whatever value that would have. Listen to the Warm. I think that was Rod McEwen.
It was.
Yeah.
And he had record albums of him reading. So I got started writing, and then I bumped into one of John's online classes, and I've been studying with him for about 3 years now, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I would recommend his classes to everyone, to anyone who has any thought of writing. He's a wonderful, wonderful teacher.
Thank you, Eric. That's really nice.
I guess the last thing I'd like to say is I've always kind of thought of myself as a fool or a clown. I've approached my life and all my work in that way. And at one point, John said, excuse me, something about stand-up poetry. And I thought, oh, great. I've always wanted to be a stand-up comedian. So maybe this is the place for me. And so it was difficult for me sometimes not to put stupid jokes into my poems. John would cut them or suggest I cut them. So clowning, a fool isn't a simpleton. It's more like a truth teller in the classical sense. And someone who questions traditions and traditional wisdom. And so I think that's kind of what I try to do in my poetry, if I'm trying to do anything. All right. Okay, I'm going to read a poem then. And this is included in the book. And this kind of explains my situation. The poem is called Whole. To be able to use both hands, to be able to wash the dishes, to be able to walk without having to think about how to walk. Since my stroke 12 years ago, I've been hemiplegic. My left arm and left leg were left paralyzed, meaning that medically I was considered half, not whole. Oh, to be whole again. But in losing the use of my arm and leg, I've grown one appendage for compassion and another for empathy. Although because of the stroke, because of how it altered how I speak, I sound gruff, short, and angry to others. Despite being only half, I like and treat myself and others a whole lot better than I did before when I was really whole. For those who don't know what John's doing, would you explain that, John?
Yeah, well, this is the ASL for applause, and because we have a hard time with sound on Zoom, it works a lot better. I'm a crappy ASLer, but yeah. But maybe we could start the the interview process then, Eric. Is now that you've given us our first poem. And I'm wondering about your process, both in terms of an artist and also as somebody who's recovered from a stroke. Is and I'm wondering about your well, actually, I'm more interested right now about your process as an artist on multiple levels, and if it's different uh, for acting than it is for poetry. Are you going into the same kinds of things?
I think I'm kind of going into the same kind of things. I think when I write, I feel like I'm experiencing what I'm writing, just as an actor would experience what they're reading or what they're playing.
Mm,
So I
mm.
feel there's a kind of connection between the two. And I have a couple of poems where I speak in a kind of character voice. Most of them not, but every once in a while.
Do you find it satisfying the way that that acting was?
I find it satisfying to a degree. What I miss in acting is the collaborative process.
Mm,
Working with a group of people, I was directing a lot and working with designers and other actors and helping to shape performances. And working in a room full of people is very different than sitting at home in my little room scrawling in my notebook.
hmm.
And so I do miss the collaborative process, although the class kind of gives me a little sense of that, listening to other people read.
Yeah. Yeah, you and Lavina and Karen and a couple other people here. Yeah. Well, do you have any poems about the acting?
I do not.
Okay. Well, how about the recovery process? Is this is has this been an effective part of the recovery?
Yeah, it's given me a sort of a creative outlet since I can't do my show right now. So this is a way at least to be creative and feel like I'm generating something interesting.
Could you give us one of those poems, the stroke poems?
Yeah, uh, they're almost all stroke poems. So I'll just read what I selected. Then we'll. This is called Proof of Life. As I have aged, my body has betrayed me so many times that even a photograph of me holding today's paper will not confirm that there's still life in this old body. At times I couldn't swallow. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk. Last week, taking a walk, I fell and broke two ribs. I barely recognized myself anymore. I was a runner, a martial artist, a trail riding equestrian. It feels like I have to do something risky now, something challenging to prove to myself that I'm still here. A horseback ride into the high country, a martial arts exercise with 9 opponents, an open mic ukulele performance. At my age, just getting through the day should be proof enough, but it isn't.
You got a few poems about your horses. I love those poems. Do you have that one where you're holding the head of the horse?
Uh, I have the one in the orange grove. You remember
That'd be
that
great.
one? All right. And I have it marked right here outside. I was on a horse, my first horse, Sonny. She was a high-strung animal with a dirty copper coat that shone in the sun like a polished penny. Riding her made me aware of those things that were invisible to me, but obvious to Sonny's eyes, nose, and ears. Together, Sonny and I became a centaur. My wife and I were racing around an orange grove, playing tag, ducking under the branches, reaching over the horses' necks to touch each other, moving the reins back and forth without thinking, steering with our bodies and thoughts, driving our butts into the saddles and hooking our heels into the stirrups to stay on our horses. We were screaming and laughing. The horses were snorting and sweating and seemed to be having as much fun as the humans. We focused on each other, but kept an eye out for the orchardist and the orange police since we were playing in a private orange grove owned by a corporation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Too bad we couldn't see the line breaks on these poems. I'm wondering about the line breaks.
Uh-huh.
Let's see. Can you hold them up and show them the line breaks?
Yeah, I can. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
That's really great. Thank you for that suggestion. It's great to see the
Yeah.
line
What I
breaks.
wondered if it was going to be like aligned or with different indentations. That's what I wondered. And punctuation as well.
Yeah. Ken brings up a really good point too about the idea of all of us who have physical struggles, right? Which is also part of what my book is about. And it's just maybe Ken, if you maybe you can probably ask the question better than I can.
Um, it was more a reflection than a question. My own background is that I've worked with people who have struggled with disabilities for most of my career, and I understand a little bit about their struggles to be heard. And I myself have dealt with a fairly significant amnesia. And like you, found that poetry and other kinds of writing, of course, with John's help, really allowed me to do stuff I couldn't do before, I couldn't say before.
Uh,
And I just want to applaud the work you're doing and let you know that I think that its import goes far beyond you.
well, thank you. I think it's important for people to remember we don't realize it when we're young, but being able-bodied is a temporary condition.
Absolutely. It really is. Yeah. And and to understand that paradoxically enriches our life because we can see beyond ourselves and we can see beyond what we perceive to be our own limitations. Thank you again.
Well, thanks, Kendall.
Do you have a poem on that subject?
Uh, I think so. Yes. Yes, yes. But they're all kind of about that subject.
Well, yeah, read one of your favorites, or I bet they're all your favorites. But what's one that you think that speaks to you right now?
The one poem I think I'll be remembered for, if I'm remembered for a poem, it's Old Guys Talking, and it's in the book. Did your copy arrive, Stephanie?
Not yet, but I
Oh,
have the PDF, so yay. I'm sure it'll come.
all right. So this felt a little bit like a character voice. I'm at an age where every conversation turns into a discussion of doctors, surgeries, and medications. I'm also at the point where I don't bother with pleasantries. I'm happy to start with the kid at the hardware store by saying, I need a flashlight. I'm up all night peeing and I'm going to kill myself getting to the toilet. Someday your prostate will squeeze your urethra like a vice lock pliers. Hey kid, I bet you still wake up with a hard on. I used to have other things to talk about, interesting things, ideas, concepts, hopes, and dreams. Now I just hope I can remember who I am, and I dream about the time when my body worked. At least discussing healthcare beats talking politics, even if I agree with you. I'd rather hear what your doctor had to say about your hemorrhoidectomy than listen to you regurgitating what you think you heard on the news.
The humor.
And that was a voice that I wish I could find more often, but
Yeah.
that old cranky guy just, and I think I'm an old cranky guy, but I can't get that voice very often.
What a voice, though. Wow.
I know
Can I
that
bring up-
flashlight. I know that flashlight all too well.
Aren't we all of that age? Can I bring up a cartoon that was in the New Yorker once that I remember from way back? There's two guys sitting at a bar, and one guy's looking totally dejected into his beer or his drink, and he speaks to the other guy, and he says, I used to be an engaging conversationalist, but now everything I say is damningly uh, obvious. That's that's near the quote.
Close enough, I think. I think we get it.
How about another one, Eric?
Okay. And this is kind of close to that same. Oh, kind of close to the same voice, but not quite there. Sitting, I noticed that my feet hurt. What the hell? I'm sitting. Why do my feet hurt? Then I noticed that my ass hurts from sitting. The ache goes up my back. It claws through my forehead, through my hair to my forehead. Now my eyes feel like there's someone has their thumbs in them. Down the pain continues through my sinuses to my teeth. The ache continues its downward journey until the cycle begins again. Feet, butt, back, head, forehead, eyes, nose, mouth, throat, stomach, groin, then feet again. At least I know I'm alive. If I was dead, nothing would hurt, or at least I wouldn't notice. So come on, aches, united in a harmonious ode to living, to life, and to all it offers, pains and pleasures. I guess that's about acceptance.
You want to do one more?
Sure. Yeah.
These are so great, Eric.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. You know, and in writing them, they didn't seem great. They just seemed like something to say.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Who will die first? I ask about my family, my friends, my pets. It's not that I think about death a lot. Like most people, I don't notice that I'm alive until there's something to complain about. Aye, there's the rub. We're barely aware that we're alive. Some days I don't notice the taste of the orange juice, the sun on my back, the breeze in my face. We are just so busy being and doing every day that we don't notice being alive until it's almost too late. Maybe the question should be, who will taste the orange juice first?
Huh.
Yeah.
I love that poem.
Eric, this set is reminding me of something that you've probably forgotten all about, but that you did on the first day of class when we team taught the course about me. So this was everybody. This was a course about autobiography in literature and performance. And Eric got up. We introduced ourselves. I did my usual thing. Eric got up and said, "Well, you know." And he's tall and he's impressive looking and he's talking away. And suddenly, in the middle of everything, those of you who are family know that he can do this. He made this incredibly weird, grotesque, funny face. And it just was so great because, and for the students, it was like, this is the professor making this, I can't even do it. It was a real crazy clown face. And students just gasped with surprise and then kind of very timidly started laughing. And then more people started laughing and the laughter grew. And I could see everybody thinking, oh, this is going to be a really different kind of class. This is going to be really different.
Hmm.
And I think you do that in these poems. It's poetry, so it's literary, and then we don't notice we're alive until we're taking a shit and then our teeth hurt. It's like, oh, this is going to be a very different kind of poem, and you create so much kind of shock and delight with these. um so I think the clown is alive and well in these poems.
I feel like my clown is alive and well. And I think that's important. We should all be in touch with our child and our clown.
Yeah. Yeah, and very few of us are, it seems to me, and something that you're great at as an actor, as a teacher, and now as a writer is kind of pulling that out
As John knows, I
and
went to
getting us
clown
to see
school
it.
in Paris for a year. And I just learned that one of my teachers just died. He was Sacha Baron Cohen's teacher,
Mm,
and he just died.
mm.
May his memory be a blessing.
Absolutely. Philippe Gaulier.
Was he part of Moment Shots?
No, he was a teacher they call Jacques Lecoq. So he was Momenchant's probably one of his students.
Hmm.
But he was the secondary teacher at Jacques Lecoq. Jacques was the primary teacher, and Philippe was his protege.
Mm, mm.
I also loved something that you said a little while ago, which is I wrote it down and drew stuff around it. I barely recognize myself. And I think you touch on something that everybody who is alive and who is lucky enough to age notices, that we just physically transform. We just do, whether we're healthy or not. And that's a really strange and interesting thing to think about and to write about.
I just worry that writing about all this stuff over and over again gets boring and dull. Jesus, doesn't he have something better to think about?
Not so far. This is all still good. And this is what we all, over the age of, I don't know, 30, probably over the age of 20. I meet young people who are very uptight about aging and really worry about it. It's like, I'm 22 and it's all downhill. And it's like, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Just wait. There's much more downhill to go. So
It gets worse than 22.
What?
It gets worse than 22?
No, it
does.
doesn't.
Or better. Or better. It depends on how you look at it.
Why don't we do one more poem and then
All right,
move to the next?
then you can read something because this is called Sunset Walk. On tonight's unsteady sunset walk, the crows squawked, the crickets chirped, and even the bluebirds were screaming at me to fall and die, to provide a bigger meal than the roadkill rabbit at the end of the drive.
Hmm, that's great. And just posted your a link to Eric's book. So if you want to buy Eric's book, now would be a fantastic time.
Right,
And
and also let's not forget to give a big shout out to Arroyo Seco Press, small
Absolutely.
press that
And
supports poets. Yay! We want to support indie presses as much as we can, so
is
do.
Tommy
Thank you
here?
so
Is
much,
Thomas
Arroyo
here?
Seco.
yeah, Tommy is not here. I was looking around for him. He might be Michelle. Tommy is sometimes Michelle.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, John, do you want to give us some poems?
Yeah. So this is my latest Arroyo Seco book. Or part of the same series as this one, and I can show you it's actually a very small book. Um, but they are prose poems. Some of them are flash fiction pieces, and they're all exactly 100 words. And the first book was about me moving to New York and kind of wandering through the forests of my youth, and because I'm back. And this one is the same sort of thing. It's meditations in the forest, but with the knowledge that my body's compromised. I'm getting older, and I have to have a bypass and a new heart valve. And I found out that I had a heart attack years ago, and I didn't notice it happening. I mean, I noticed something was happening, and then, oh, this is frustrating. But then I got up the next day and went hiking with Scott actually, and but luckily lived through that. And so this is kind of all about that sort of thing. Um, I'm gonna. Tommy chose one to put in the back cover. I'm gonna start with that, and I one person here is not going to like this. I read about my wife a lot. Scott. I read about my wife a lot, and also I'm writing about my daughter a lot now, Shema. And so I'm going to mention my daughter, and but I don't want to call attention to her because she's here, and it embarrasses her when I tell her that I'm proud of her and that I think that she's a wonderful person. So I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to tell her that she's wonderful in front of other people because that would make her feel awkward. And she, even though she's really wonderful and I'm very proud of her, I would never say that out loud in front of other people. Okay. So I'm going to read this. It's exactly
Thank you
100
for your
words.
restraint, John.
Yeah,
Isn't that
right.
nice? I really could have launched into how great she is, but I didn't. I didn't. Okay. Um, Milk. I watch the way the milk swirls into a cloud in my wife's tea, the way it mixes itself, how it makes itself into something else. I pour milk in my daughter's cup and my own, smiling at how each cupful finds its balance. My daughter's looking for a job on her computer. My wife is making leaf drawings, which she will sell next month at a gallery. The house is quiet. I go outside and watch clouds disappearing the sun. I think when the sun is gone and with it the earth, this moment will always have happened.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to go through it. They're all kind of just meditations on being here and seeing the woods and looking out into space. I look out into space a lot because I'm spacey.
John, let me
Um,
ask you a question.
yeah.
How come you chose my wife instead of your wife's name?
I don't, well, because I've got to get 100 words exactly.
Well,
Um,
oh, all right.
that's
I
two,
see.
right? And
You're
so,
counting them up. All
yeah.
right.
Luckily, I didn't choose syllable there. Otherwise,
Yeah.
then
Well,
Annie and Ann. And
yeah.
then I gave her this terrible long last name, so that's too many syllables. Brantingham goes on forever. Uh, okay, I'm gonna go. Let's see. This is called Turtle Days. I avoid roads on Sundays when the Amish ride to each other's homes. I worry about them in this world mad for speed. But I had forgotten what day it was, and there's a pond down the road, and it's the turtle time of year. I'm thinking about how water formed in space before gas clouds collapsed to make the earth and sun. How water in the pond is as ancient as that. When I hear the horse hooves, I look over and see an Amish man He lifts his hand to wave. I say, good morning. I mean it. And that ending I stole from Anders, not from his poem, but a poem that a man from Africa read to him one time. So I steal it, and I am not repentant at all. Um, okay. Let's see. I'm just going to take these at random for a little while, and please let me know when I've gone on too long, Stephanie. Let's see. Oh, how about one on glaciers? This is a glacial erratic. Do you know what a glacial erratic is? These are stones that were moved by the ice age, and so we've got these stones called the Thunder Rocks near where I live, and they're gorgeous. They're huge, giant things, but they've been moved out of the bottom of Lake Ontario or Lake Erie onto the top of this mountain, and they're incredible. They look. I took pictures of them, and Scott's wife thought they were cabins at first. They're that big, you know. Um, hey, Scott. By the way, if you all want to go to Sequoia and Kings Canyon and learn poetry, Scott is now running the program that I used to run with him and ran it too. So go and hang out with Scott. He's a good person. Okay. Glacial erratics. I searched the walls of a glacial erratic for fossils. This stone was spewed onto the Earth's surface, then pushed to this mountaintop by the force of all that ice. A miracle, but is not dappled with the bodies of those who came before as I hoped. Of course, the dirt below me is made of those who came before me. The plants gather the nutrients from that dirt, and I am made of those plants. I smile to think that the earth loves to bring us all back again and again, spewing us up like stones riding a glacier. Yeah, as some of you know, I've been going through my father's long illness, and now he just passed away 27 days ago. And so I write about him and my mother a lot in this collection. This is this universe. I talked to my mother on the phone, and she asked me how Archie, my dog, is doing. In my universe, Archie's been dead for 15 years. In her universe, my mother tells me the story of her tomato plants and how well they're doing. Then she tells me that same story again. In our universe, she forgets my name. All over every universe, mothers are dying. It's the condition of our universe. All over every universe, sons are being born. All over these universes, tomato plants are doing so well. They're bearing such good fruit that it's overwhelming. I'm in the state now where my mother and I talk for 20 minutes, and we'll have the same conversation 15 times, right? But she's still happy, so that's good. I don't want to read that one. Here's another one about tea and Annie. It's called my wife, the tea and the river. I stare across the Allegheny River, holding the mug of tea my wife made before I left, to stare across the water and think of how she hugged me from behind and said, "Have a good time." I think about the river, which is only a context. It is and is not the water. This water will flow away and become the Ohio River. My body is both me and not me too. It's passing the way water passes to the sea. It's good, I think, to stay focused on my wife and the tea and the river. So I wrote several of these with Anne making me tea, and John Weiwei, who's down there in this direction, told me, you better, like, this is turning out pretty sexist. Your wife is always making you tea. You should make her a cup of tea once. And so I put that on the back of the book. Okay. Civil Twilight. Do you know what Civil Twilight is? I didn't know until I moved to this. Well, I did know, but I didn't really experience it. It's the part of Twilight where you can still read. And so if you're from California, it's like, what is that, 3 minutes? But here, it's like, feels like it goes on for an hour and a half. Like Twilight really goes on, which I like. And also Dawn. Okay. Civil Twilight. It is civil twilight in the grove, the bats flitting through all those branches, all those leaves. I wonder about them. I worry about them getting white nose disease, how it worked its way across the country, how vulnerable they are. I worry about the porcupines and the golden eagles and people too. I look into the canopy above me and I can see the half moon. I think about Neil's footprints on its surface. Unless they're struck by a meteor, they'll be there longer than Mount Everest. I think about bats, porcupines, eagles, Everest, and the footprints going away. Okay. How about would do you want two more? Let's do two more.
Yeah, two more is great.
Two. Okay. Somebody choose a page because they're all just meditative. I have no arc going here. So somebody yell at a page. Somebody says
14.
page 10.
14.
Okay, I'll do 10 and then I'll do 14. Yeah, I haven't done either of those yet. Okay, so below the bridge, you got to know what a fisher cat is. Fisher cat's a big damn weasel, and they're scary weasels. So if you're in California, you've never seen one of these, but I got one just down the street from me, and so we watch our dog as she goes out. Below the bridge, a couple of fisher cats run out of the woods to the skidder below a bridge near my path. Two lovers, maybe, or friends, maybe, or both, maybe, looking for something to eat in the stream that flows under there. I want to join them in their meal, so I sit down and have my sandwich and watch in case they come back out. They don't. And I have the idea they're keeping watch. Maybe they think I'm a hunter. Maybe they think I'm the first wave of an invading force. Maybe they're ready for anything, safe from me, sharing alone together. And because I think Ken said 14, so this is as I hike the marsh. There's a lot of water in this area. The Californians, there's like, you know how there's no water anywhere in California? We got water everywhere. I mean, everywhere I look, it's great. So this is as I hike the marsh. A priest told us if God forgot us about us, we would cease to exist. He told us that God is love. I wonder how that priest with his specific faith would see this. The water, the trees, the birds, the distant sound of struggle, the wind. I have no guesses about God, but I know that when I am gone, the water will still ripple and the birds will still call passionately to each other. Creatures will fight with each other loudly and the wind will blow on without me. I wonder if love is a thing that can forget. Thank you. All right, and thank you so much, Eric, for sharing today with me, and thank you, Stephanie. And I really appreciate Arroyo Seco Press, and thank you all for being a part of my life. There's so many people here that I've known for so long and or just met and love so much, and so I'm just grateful for all of you being here.
Well, thank you so much, John and Eric, and we love you guys right back. My goodness, what an interesting set. You know, the clown poet who sort of deconstructs his own physicality, and the sort of self-erasing poet who is there and not there, and who kind of operates in this sort of translucent way so that we can see the universe. They're perfect complements for each other. Yes, Eric Barr.
Can I read a poem that I wrote when I learned that John was going to have valve replacement?
Yes, I think we need to hear it.
It's called Pick a Valve, Any Valve. My first appointment with the cardiac surgeon about replacing my aortic valve was ordinary enough. Him asking questions about my health history, me asking him about his success rate at replacing valves. What percentage of your patients survive? Then it got a little strange. What kind of valve do you want? He asked as he pulled a few gewgaws from the drawer and dropped them on the desktop. What are my choices? He picked one, the porcine valve made from pig tissue. Pig? Porcine. It was a standard, but now for most replacements, we use ones made from bovine tissue. You mean cow? He held up a white plastic ring with white flaps. Bovine. There's also the mechanical valve, which is made of plastic and metal. Gee, I don't know. What do you recommend? I'd probably go with the bovine. Will that last as long as the mechanical one? They all have about the same lifespan, but some people complain that they can hear the mechanical valve opening and closing, clicking with each pump when they're trying to sleep. So I'd hear the clicking stop if my heart stops. When, not if. I took the cow valve.
And that, friends,
Well, so this is I wanted the cow valve because right now when I chase Spaniards through the streets, it seems odd, but if I'm half cow, I figured that I'd have an excuse. But they're going to give me one of those plastic suckers.
Please forgive me. I've got to add something that many years ago, early in my career, I was lecturing to a whole class of people who'd had valve replacements. And they had all had the little ball and cage. And I could tell when my speech was going well because the room got noisy. Clatter, clatter, clatter.
That's great.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie.
you
Thank
bet.
you, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And thank you,
John.
Eric,
Thank you,
for that
Stephanie.
perfect closer.
Ah,
Yeah,
And
can I
everybody,
ask
thank
a
you so much. Don't
question?
forget to buy books.
Yeah, can I ask a question of Carol Birch?
that's me.
You there, Carol? Have you been a professional storyteller?
No,
There's a woman called Carol Birch who is a very fine professional storyteller. So I just wondered.
I've seen that, but
Yeah,
I'm not that person.
okay. I just wondered. I thought
Yeah.
I'd ask.
Thanks.
Well,
Okay.